I am here to tell you that you will never amount to anything, that no one loves you, you are not smart, and will fail at everything you do. I am here to take over your life, the way you think, how you interact with people, your entire being. My presence will affect every aspect of your life, and even those around you. I will make you feel hopeless, helpless, and useless. I will fill your mind with negative thoughts, make your body ache, and take all your physical, emotional, and mental strength until you're drained. I am not concerned with your gender, your race, or your age. Who am I? I am depression. Depression in the United States affects 1 in 10 people. In 1 in 10 cases, it is fatal. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention stated 18.8 million adults will suffer from this disease. This is a topic that I am passionate about because I am one of the 18.8 million that suffers with this illness. For those who suffer, it is a constant everyday battle to get up and put one foot in front of the other. It affects their daily lives in every aspect. For them, it is unescapable. It is a dark cloud that lingers over their heads until they have lost all hope. In a statistics article through the CDC, it stated an estimated 20% of people aged 55 years or older will experience some type of mental issue. Approximately 80% of people with depression reported some level of functional impairment related to the depression. 27% reported serious difficulties in their work and home life, and 29% reported contacting a mental health professional. As to the subsets who suffered with severe depression, only 39% reported getting help. In a 3-month period, people with depression miss an average of 4.8 work days and suffer 11.5 days of reduced productivity. Depression is estimated to cause 200 million lost work days each year, at a cost to employers of $17 to $44 billion. Depression is not age, color, or gender biased when it comes to choosing its victims. I believe in this day and age there is still a controversy within our society over whether or not depression is something that can be controlled, or if it is truly chemical and genetic. As someone who has suffered with depression since preteen, I can attest that it is not controllable, nor is it something that can be turned off and on like a light switch. Today we will discuss 3 of the most common types of depression as outlined in medicinenet.com. The first is major depression. Within this depression, a combination of symptoms lasts for at least 2 weeks consecutively and can reoccur once, twice, or several times in a lifetime. The second is called dysthymia. This type of depression is less severe, but tends to be longer lasting. It involves long-term chronic symptoms that prevents the affected person from functioning fully or from enjoying life and feeling good. Those who suffer this type of depression may also endure an episode of major depression at the same time, and this is known as double depression. The third is bipolar disorder. This form of depression is often chronic and reoccurring. Sometimes the person's moods switch dramatic and rapidly, but tend to be gradual. As a sufferer of depression, I have heard many myths about depression, including it is a weakness rather than an illness, or if you try hard enough, it'll go away. Or people with depression are crazy, or those who admit to someone they are contemplating suicide are only attention seekers. Additionally, MedicineNet reports others such as people who are highly intelligent and accomplished, or those with developmental disabilities never get depressed. And children, teens, the elderly, or men do not get depressed. These are all myths made up in our society, because truth is, depression can affect each and every one of them. Researchers state depression within men comes from the form of low energy, irritability, and anger, at times to the point of causing harm to another. It also stated they are 4 times more likely to commit suicide than a woman. 8% of teens and 2% of preteens are affected by this disease. And even though some of the signs with children present themselves the same, the younger ages may try harder to please others when they are depressed as a way of compensating for their low self-esteem. For women, depression starts at an early age and lasts longer and reoccurs more often. Women with depression tend to have anxiety, eating disorders, and dependent personalities compared to men. As noted on medicinenet.com, it has been medically proven this disease does not just affect its victims mentally, but emotionally and physically. In an article I read, it stated the functional changes of clinical depression are often called neurovegetative signs. This means the nervous system changes in the brain, causing many physical symptoms that result in diminished participation and a decrease of increased activity level. It can increase its victim's risk of coronary artery disease, asthma, obesity, morbidity, and mortality. In my time thus far, I have lost 2 people to depression and suicide. The point of this information is just to inform you of this disease, to help you understand it is not a mindset. It can somewhat be controlled through medications or therapies, but for those who suffer with it as I have, it is a constant battle, and no matter how hard you fight back, you can just never seem to win it. It is exhausting, and despite those who feel it is only expressed or shown for attention, they need to understand that no one enjoys feeling this way. It is like being trapped within yourself with no escape. If you know someone who is depressed, I urge you to help them. If you are unsure how, here are some tips to start you. Help guide them and support them to seek medical attention. Keep up with them to make sure they are maintaining their medications and treatments. Listen to them when they talk without judgment and with compassion, but do not expect them to just snap out of it. Do all you can to let them know that they matter. Be persistent, because someone with depression or who is fighting it tends to want to hide and be alone due to the feelings of inadequacy. And in the moments that you get so tired and frustrated with them, remember, you have a choice to walk away. They are imprisoned and do not have that option, so don't give up on them. If you are someone that stands with me as one of the statistics, there are things we can do to make it a little more bearable in the times we have to endure it. Here are some ideas that were especially useful for me. Express your feelings, whether to a friend, a family member, or even just making a journal, but do not bottle your feelings up. This will be a great benefit to you. Don't set unrealistic goals. Make long tasks into small ones and surround yourself with people and things that make you happy. Exercise is also a good stress reliever. But most importantly, do not give in to the depression's negative thoughts and views about yourself. I'm going to end with a few quotes I found. They each speak to me, and I hope they touch your heart to stand by someone you know who suffers with this. The first is by Stephen Fry, a British comedian, actor, and author. If you know someone who's depressed, please resolve never to ask them why. Depression isn't a straightforward response to a bad situation. Depression just is, like the weather. Be there for them when they come through to the other side. It is hard to be a friend to someone who's depressed, but it is one of the kindest, most noblest, and best things you will ever do. The second is from an anonymous author, but their words shed a little light into the sufferer's eyes. What is depression like, he asked. It's like drowning, except you can see everyone around you breathing. And my last is by To Write Love on Her Arms, which is a nonprofit organization. It is something as sufferers we need to remember. You were created to love and be loved. You are meant to live life in relationship with others, in relationship to other people, to know and be known. You need to know your story is important and you're part of a bigger story. You need to know that your life matters. I hope that I have enlightened your knowledge of depression, ways to help, and advice to give. I thank you for your time, and I hope you have a wonderful evening.